Hello, author friends. This is William Searles with the New York Critique. The first thing I'd like to do today is thank those of you that have followed us and watched our videos thus far. I think we've been posting videos for about a week now. I think we got 3 up, and I was told a couple hundred of you are following us, and I think we got around 7,000 views. We appreciate your support. Keep following us, and I promise you we're going to do our best to provide content that hopefully has a positive impact on your career as a writer. What I'd like to talk about today are common reasons why manuscripts get rejected. And you'll hear me say this over and over again. Never get it twisted. There's always going to be someone that isn't the biggest fan of something you've written. Rejection is part of being an author. And if you received a rejection letter, take solace in knowing you've joined the company of J.K. Rowling, Stephen King, Ernest Hemingway, Dr. Seuss, Agatha Christie, F. Scott Fitzgerald. The list goes on. And let's keep it real. Anyone that turns down green eggs and ham has got to be out of their mind. So not every agent is going to like what we're writing. So let's go over some reasons why manuscripts get rejected. I'll spend a little more time on some than others, but again, hopefully you enjoy it. Let's see where we go. Number one, the genre, when you're submitting, the genre doesn't work for the agent. Usually in most cases when you pick up an agent or look for an agent to query, the agent will be very specific what they're looking for. If you're a sci-fi author and they're looking for YA, real good chance you're going to get rejected and vice versa. Pretty simple. Just make sure you're sending in your work to an agent that's looking for the genre you're writing in. Number two, this is surprisingly common. Problems with spelling and grammar. Usually when you're submitting, you got a query letter, you got a synopsis, and they might ask for anywhere between 10 to 50 pages of your work. Go over that a million times. Do not have any spelling errors in there. I've got an agent friend that says he sees a spelling error. That means the author isn't considered enough with their own work, and there's probably going to be more errors throughout the work, and it's not worth looking at. Pretty simple. If you're going to do any editing, really focus on what you're submitting. Next one, the characters aren't interesting. I realize as authors, we think everything we write is going to be a bestseller and everyone's going to love it, and that's simply not how it works. Really take yourself outside the book, look at your characters, and ask yourself, is this someone I want to hang out with? If a character doesn't add anything to a story, cut it. There's too many characters in so many cases. 5 is a pretty good number. You don't want to go over 5 main characters unless you've really got a massive book. And a huge mistake a lot of authors make, they'll have their main character make these little random stops in a street and talk to a store manager or someone behind a counter. We don't really need to know about the person's name behind the counter. And if they're not going to contribute something to the story, get rid of them. The next one. The plot is too predictable. Time and time again, agents say that they can tell how a book will end after reading only a few chapters. Keep your reader guessing. Next one. The story doesn't create an emotional experience. People read books, fiction, to escape from their everyday life, and you need to ask yourself why a reader would root for your protagonist in pursuit of his or her goal. If you can't answer this, revisit your story. This next one is a huge one. Huge. This is writing 101. Head hopping. This is a common problem with newer writers. Remember to only be in one character's point of view per scene or chapter. I don't want to spend too much time on that. If you don't understand that one, Google it now. POV and head hopping. Writer's curse. Next one. Telling instead of showing. Show instead of tell. You've heard these things a million times. Don't tell us Johnny is a biker pothead. Instead, describe the crest on his leather jacket, his bandana, and how he reeked of marijuana. The next one. This is a little more complex, and really it talks about the journey of your author. The problem is there's no apparent arc for your protagonist. Your main character has to experience some type of transformation as a result of the story. If he or she is the same person throughout the entire novel, why would someone want to read it? Your character must have a goal that is met with obstacles, and he or she must make some changes to overcome them. Never forget that. Next one, way overdone, and in my opinion, manuscript cancer. Avoid dream sequences and flashbacks. Dream sequences and flashbacks are going to be a detriment to your story getting picked up and will have a lot of your readers rolling their eyes. Next one, pace. I could talk about pace for hours. Stories shouldn't drag, and pacing problems are usually attributed to unnecessary scenes. Scour your manuscript. If a scene or chapter, take this one to the bank, if a scene or chapter doesn't introduce something new and keep the story moving forward, cut it. Next one. The manuscript, this is a big one too. The manuscript doesn't follow the correct formatting what the agent's looking for. Make sure your manuscript follows the requested format. Again, there are editors and agents that will pitch your story before reading a word if the correct format isn't offered. The next one. This really makes me want to remind you that you want to write for the joy of writing. And this one's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings, but I believe this is a publishing fact. Maybe your subject is overdone. There are times when the world has seen enough teen witches and vampires. Try to make your content fresh. Word count. This is a big one. Do some research on the typical word count for your genre. 100,000 words used to be the go-to number for mainstream fiction, but the game has changed. Another big one too, and this keep in mind that you can only have one chance to make a first impression. Opening your story is lame. You only have one chance to make a first impression. If an agent or editor isn't hooked in the first 20 pages, it'll be game over. And finally, maybe the agent or editor is oblivious to your literary brilliance. You may have written the perfect novel, and it's still possible it just isn't the agent or editor's cup of tea. A million reasons why your manuscript might get rejected. Stay focused on some of those. Always improve your craft. Stop by and visit us at the New York Critique. Hit on some different tabs, and happy writing. Thanks. Have a great day.